Hey future educators, this is Michael Hayes and I am here to start getting you ready for the EC-6 test for TExES educators. Coming right up. Okay, so just a little background. These are going to be about 5-minute clips, 5 minutes or so to kind of start preparing you guys to get ready for the EC-6 exam. Just a little background on me. My name is Michael Hayes and I've had this YouTube channel for several years, since 2011. I've been teaching since 2003. It is currently 2018. And right now I am an assistant principal in elementary. And my wife is a second grade teacher. She has taught third grade as well in elementary. I have had the pleasure of teaching 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and 10th grade science, and also working with a university on a collegiate level, working with high school students to prepare for first-generation graduates out of high school through the Upward Bound program. My son is also an educator. He is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and my daughter recently just landed a job for an elementary special education instructor. She just graduated in December. So let's get started, guys. I personally have not taken the EC-6 test. The tests change all the time. My particular test subject and area of expertise was in science. I have the composite science certification. Back when I took the test, it certified me to teach anywhere from 6th through 12th grade science, all levels, physics, chemistry, and so on. So we're going to be looking at science primarily, starting off because that's what I'm most familiar with, but in the background I'm going to be preparing you guys also for the English, the fine arts, the math, the social studies, aspects of the exam. So just a little heads up on the exam that TExES educators are expected to pass. It is a 4-hour and 40-minute exam with 267 total questions. You have timed areas of each particular portion of the exam. So if you manage to get finished with that portion of the exam earlier than expected, it doesn't mean you get more time for the following part of the exam. So here's a breakdown of what you're expected to be able to accomplish. There are 75 ELA, which is English Language Arts, questions. You get 1 hour and 45 minutes to complete that exam. You have 47 math questions, and you get only 1 hour to complete that. You have 41 social studies questions and only 35 minutes to complete that. 52 science questions and 40 minutes to complete that. Also, you have a fine arts, health, and PE portion of the exam that has a total of 52 questions, and you get 52 questions, and I have 4 minutes down. That's not correct. I'll have to double check that, but 40 some odd minutes to complete that portion of the exam. And so I want to refer you to a book. My daughter's actually going through a study session with a gentleman that is preparing her and others for the test. He has a very high success rate. And so just a shout out to him and a plug for him. That is John Hancock. He is the person that actually hired me for my first job in secondary education. So he's retired now and he's helping teachers in class in his home on a nightly basis to prepare them for the exam as well. So this is the book he recommends, and he's had a great success rate with it. So I'm going to recommend the book as well. This is the big yellow book, Ultimate Guide, TExES Core Subjects EC-6, TExES Examination of Educator Standards 291. And I will also put a quick screenshot of the book cover right here, as well as the barcode, so you guys can find that on Amazon and get that ordered. Or go to your Barnes & Noble, wherever you might shop for books of this nature, and go ahead and prepare for that. So just some ways, some handouts, some ideas to kind of get you ready. These are just flashcards for some of the main topics that my daughter has prepared to get ready for just the science portion. And this is not even half the stack. She's got another half just like this. This is actually the stack that she pretty well has confidence in, so she set those aside and she's preparing on the ones she's having more challenges with. She also has similar and larger stacks for other subject areas. So it is crazy nuts the amount of information that you're expected to know for this exam. But don't let that scare you, because there are certain focal areas of the exam that you will need to know, to be quite honest. Okay, it can't cover everything, but there are certain areas that are most likely going to show up on the exam, and that's what we're going to prepare you for. So starting with science, this is going to be 5 minutes. I'm going to set my timer because I want I want my time with you to be about 5 minutes or so. So let me go ahead and prepare that real quickly. Let me put my timer on. So when the timer goes off, we'll shut this down, okay? So that way I'm not dragging on and on and on. So let me go ahead and put that in. Timer. Here we go. Let's do 5 minutes and we'll do a countdown. So here we go. We are starting 5 minutes right there. When the timer goes off, we're going to stop and we're going to end this video. And the next video will also be 5 minutes long. So just looking at some of the big ideas in science. So we're going to start off with, as I was teaching a science class, the very first thing you need to know about as a science instructor, regardless of grade level, is lab safety. Because you are expected in the science classroom to actually have hands-on activities and to deal with students with lab equipment and to do the things that scientists do on a smaller scale in elementary, but the process is still the same. They still need to know graduated cylinders. They still need to know how to clean up. They still need to know how to not contaminate items. And they need to know the proper methods to be able to do so. And so safety first is always the primary thing in lab safety. I'm also going to link to a video right here on this card. I hope I'm pointing to the right side of the screen. I've got a lab safety video I used for my 8th grade science class. There's a lot of detail there. You can watch that real quickly. But let's go over some of the highlights, okay? So in lab safety, here are some things you need to know. Protect yourself and others at all times. There is absolutely zero horseplay in the lab, and you should always follow the lab procedure. And as a teacher of the science classroom, you need to be able to understand the lab rules and safety. So we always want to wear goggles, safety goggles or safety glasses, in the event that you are working with any type of chemical or glassware. That is a must. Also, students need to know where the safety exits are located in your room. Most classrooms only have one entrance and exit to the classroom. That is your primary exit in the classroom as well as your entrance. So if there is a process of a fire or something like that where students need to leave the classroom in an orderly fashion, that is their way of out the classroom upon your directions and processes. Also, we are going to also know where the fire extinguishers are and the safety pull switches for a fire alarm in the event that an accident does happen or anybody needs to be alerted to something in the classroom that might have gone wrong. And so that's also a process you need to let your students know about. Contamination of materials, there is the process of not contaminating an item. So let's say that you have 2 different chemicals out. For students in general, you know, you're going to be using things like vinegar and baking soda and sugars and things like that, things that are non-caustic, that are not going to be harmful to a student if they accidentally ingest them, because they are just learning the processes of science in the elementary classroom. But the process still remains the same. We don't cross-contaminate items. So you need separate items for each item that you plan on dispensing. So if you have Dixie cups, for example, with vinegar in one Dixie cup and baking soda in another, you're going to make sure whatever you're dispensing the sugar with is a different item than you're dispensing the vinegar with. If you're pouring, then you're going to make sure that you know, you've got protection on, eye protection, and so on. Let's see, what else can we look at in safety. I don't want to drone on because some of it seems so commonsensical. So is it okay to throw away glass? Let's say that you're working with microscopes and a student breaks a glass slide, or they drop a beaker or a graduated cylinder. Glass is never to be disposed of in the trash can. It always goes in a glass box, so you can have a separate container set aside specifically for glass that can be taped up and wrapped up safely and disposed of in a trash can, so that custodial staff and others don't accidentally punch down in the trash and slice their hand open with glass. So glass always goes in a separate container, and it's usually like a plastic or rigid container that can be taped up and disposed of upon its disposal. Always use 2 hands on a microscope, one under the base, one on the neck. That's an important process to be able to handle a microscope. Hot plates, always treat a hot plate as if it is hot. Always treat it as though it is plugged in and turned up to the highest maximum. So we always treat things that typically get hot as though they're hot at all times. So when you are done with a hot plate, make sure you turn it off and it is unplugged. When you unplug a cord, always unplug it from the wall, from the actual portion of the plug that's plugged into the wall. Don't grab it by the cord and yank on it, because it will damage or fray the cord inside the insulated housing, causing a possible short or electrical problem. What else? Disposal of chemicals are always under your teacher's rules. And of course, teachers, you need to refer to the MSDS, which is the Material Safety Data Sheet, to be able to understand proper disposal. Most of the chemicals that you will be using are common household items that can easily be poured down the sink or in the trash can. They're not going to cause any problems. That also being said, we typically do not use mercury thermometers any longer in the science classroom, because mercury is a hazardous chemical. If the thermometer were to break, that mercury is a problem to dispose of. So we typically use alcohol thermometers now, which are much safer. Okay. Okay, let's talk about measurement. Oh man, is that 5 minutes already? Oh. I guess that's a good stopping point. This is going to be a lot of videos, guys. I can tell you that already. So I guess that wraps up my 5-minute video already. As promised, I'm going to stop it at 5 minutes. But we were just getting into measurement, so we're going to do measurement next on the next video coming up. That'll be part 2 of this series. There's going to be a lot of parts to this. So I hope you'll tune back in. Go ahead and subscribe to me, like, share, and post this out on Facebook. Share it with your friends in college that are going to class. Hopefully they'll tune in. Give me suggestions in the comments portion. I'll be happy to answer those questions. And hey, I wish you all the best of luck. Probably if you are watching this video, you're either getting ready to graduate or you're looking forward to this particular career path you're choosing. And I wish you all the luck with that. We'll see you next time on Mr. A's YouTube channel.